are definitely open to have you guys come up and have a conversation with us. We do anticipate or even expect at least a tidbit that we all try to keep the conversation somewhat on track, meaning we just don't expect that you come up here and just show your product or project. If you want to mention your project, that's perfectly fine. We have a lot of friends in the space who are building cool shit, so we do like to hear about that when it is certainly relevant to the discussion. So, those are the usual disclaimers. I'm not actually sure. I know that Roxana definitely has some info and some updates she's going to share. I'm pretty sure that Chair has some info as well. And waiting to see too if here's Chair, waiting to see if Amelia is coming in today as well. But other than that, guys, we're going to have a great one. We don't have, as usual, and I personally like this or enjoy it. It's very much on par with my personality that we do not have necessarily a planned discussion. We hope to keep this very open to the community and let the community decide what we want to talk about, what is most relevant or most prevalent. And that is what really adds some juice to the mix, right? Okay, cool. So Roxana has her hand up. See what she has to say before we get rolling here. Hey, Roxana.
Greetings. I'm back on European soil. Great to be back. Sorry, I skipped the past two spaces, um, but I'm very excited about today. I just wanted to make a note that I saw that Amelia rejected the calendar invite for today, stating that she's out of office, so she might not join today. Usually she's able to, but I think it's just going to be us today.
Cool. Yeah, no worries on that. Definitely happens. Cool. I do see that we have any of you guys, by the way, this is important. If you're in the space and you run a circle somewhere around the world, of course you're not obligated to chat, but if you have any info or news that you want to share with the community, you are more than welcome to come up and participate. But in the meantime, we do have Roxana and Chair, so let's go ahead and get started, and then we'll see where the conversation flows. And we will, like a waterlogged piece of wood floating downstream, we will just go along with the flow of the conversation. Cool. All right. Who wants to be on the chopping block first today?
I'm happy to go first if you guys are okay with it. Cool. Yeah, okay, let's do this. Updates from the ground. We are preparing the next London logo circle, which will happen next Monday. Same place, same time as the last one. We've just secured the room, which is really cool. Separately, we are working on a second circle within the city. It's in another area of the city. It's in the west, and it's targeting a fairly large council estate community, and a youth center. So that will happen somewhere in March, probably after Parallel Society. Third update from London. This week we are attending and sponsoring Coordinating British Progress, which is it's a conference and gathering with all the major activist policymaker communities around the UK, specific action groups that are targeting very specific problems like increasing GDP and a few kind of technical focus groups as well, a few R&D programs. So different stakeholders in the grassroots and sort of localism aspect. We will be there. We will have 10 minutes on stage to talk about logo circles and what we're doing in London, but also across the board in different areas, and how we believe we are contributing to British progress in the UK. And we will have a station where people can come in and talk to us and learn more about logos, learn more about the um, programs that we'll have in the future if people want to contribute, like help participate, help build, help launch different initiatives, and some other key points that we can't talk about them now, but there will be more public after Parallel Society. But the idea is to engage the technology groups that are based locally, universities, but also activist groups, and come together to create more synergies between logos and the other stakeholders in the grassroots movement around the UK. So I'm very excited about that, because it's really an audience that wants to move things forward. So it's very much aligned with us. And hopefully after that, we'll be able to use the platform that is organizing the event. So we could target beyond Luma. So logo circles will stay on Luma, but we will also expand to this new platform that would allow us to target people that are more aligned on activism and grassroots with us. That's for London. Second update, we went to Bangkok. So I want to do a massive shout out to our colleague Danish, who literally joined me very last minute, and have heard my plea for and my cries for someone more technical. He's part of the red teaming and engineering team. And he helped me co-organize together with our partners and friends at APAC DAO this more technical logo circle in Bangkok. So we had, if I'm thinking about the stats, we had over 125 people registered. 31 showed up. Everyone that showed up received a key card as a gift from us. Very mixed audience, but we had the opportunity to walk them through some of the tech stack that we already developed at Logos. Some of the use cases. We also presented a few winnable issues, and then we went deep into the local conversation about what are some of the potential local issues that each of the participants have identified. So obviously some people didn't want to say it out loud. Some people came afterwards in private. Some of us went for a beer afterwards and we opened up a bit more. For example, I have learned that there was an activist that whose life unfortunately ended, and this was completely hidden from the media in Thailand, which was quite unfortunate. And in general, there's a lot of corruption, and it's very hard to do things and to move things. But there were other very interesting topics that were raised, such as more developers. People have asked for more developers to build in their home countries. They said, essentially, there's a lot of um, Chinese developers in Thailand. There's a lot of different developers that are not Thai, which was quite shocking to hear Thai people saying we want more developers that are actually Thai. They're not foreigners. To essentially to have more developer literacy as well, a builder mindset to improve locally, more support provided to those who actually build. There's a massive lack of knowledge, right? So again, tech literacy was often brought up. enthusiasm. Um, One participant raised the climate question around air quality. It's still very bad, making it very hard for people to live in Thailand during massive time schedules when the air quality is really bad. Someone brought up authentic guest management, which was very interesting from the point of an organizer of a meetup, of a circle, because they said, well, we're kind of talking about changing the world and building technology for the public good. But at the end of the day, we organize meetups where everyone grabs a beer and a slice of pizza. Is that really the best we can do? Not as us as logos, but in general. So his way was to advocate for more health centric, um, like a quality of life approach as well, so that we don't just talk about the technology, but we also look at, okay, if we bring people together, let's offer them, I don't know, vitamin juices that are healthy actually, or um, a sandwich that is healthy, and not offer them pizza all the time, because that clearly is not going to help them. Um, there are other points raised, including in for example, one of the participants said that agri-tech could be a great angle for Thailand, um, to find ways to help manage the corruption in agriculture, especially from the government side. Um, and there was a question for us as well, which is quite interesting, because normally we're just asked about, well, what do we think about things, or how do we approach a specific issue? But the question for Logos at the Bangkok chapter was, how do we continue to motivate and um, fund developers in the free open source software movement, given that free open source software isn't paid that well? So that kind of allowed us to share a bit more about the concept of voluntary participation, and also um, alignment and meaning, and the fact that people often try to um, solve something that is relevant to them, and then it can be a problem that um, deserves a solution for other people as well. And we looked into Linux as an example, which was very close to uh, kind of how we approach things at Logos. So overall, I think it was a very good like we call this a blitz circle. We're gonna follow up. We received some really good pictures. We're going to follow up with um, the attendees to see if anyone would be interested to carry on organizing a monthly meetup. However, we did have one of the participants, who's actually an old friend of mine, old contact of mine. He's interested in organizing more technical workshops. So that could be a way for us to support him, instead of doing a typical circle, to look at something around actually solving this sort of tech literacy problem that was raised up many times. There is one issue we had, and this is something that we have to think of as circle organizers around the world. Um, we did it in a very beautiful space. It was it's kind of like the conference room of a company. So it was in a corporate building. But apparently there were incidents a couple of years ago in Thailand. So now when you're entering business buildings, you have to show your ID when you register. So for us, it was quite shocking that every single person that attended a logo circle to talk about freedom and privacy tech actually had to leave um, their identity details at reception. And there was no way to bypass that. So I think that's a lesson for us, to always check, when we do these events around the world, especially in regions where we don't have a lot of local connections to walk us through that. But we have to keep in mind that sometimes, a pub or a coffee shop is probably, a better place to organize and less restrictive, normally less restrictive than, a place that, is quite imposing and very good for a first event or a blitz circle. So that's one lesson, and that's something I wanted to put out there for anyone that's, looking to organize a circle or a workshop or any kind of, event bringing people together. If it's not in a country where you're residing and you know the rules and regulations, keep that in mind. So that is from me right now.
Nice. There was a lot of information there, Roxana. Thank you so much. A couple of things I heard that I want to mention, by the way. You mentioned the cafe situation or the pub situation. It's kind of funny, like historically, there's a lot of examples of pubs and taverns that were incubators of revolutionary thought over time. So that kind of goes hand in hand with what we're doing as we develop grassroots movements and develop more activist potential and energy. They're just thinking about like the American Revolution, for instance. The Green Dragon Tavern in Boston was really important for revolutionary organizing. I think they actually called it the headquarters of the revolution at one point in time. So it is kind of funny to see that historical truth come back again and again and again. That's an amazing thing. The other thing that I wanted to mention is your you were mentioning open source software and it being difficult to fund and get those projects funded. That's 100% true. I think one of the things that really one of the reasons that we get into a position where open source software continues to matter more and more is because there's just so many problems around the world, especially those that we're working on, even in the realm of Logos circles, where we're trying to tackle and help communities tackle local issues. These a lot of times these have to be passion projects or projects that find funding through different forms of crowdsourcing, and also they're just passion projects, generally speaking. But this is not to say that it can't be done, right? This is basically what Eric Raymond outlined completely in The Cathedral and the Bazaar. The idea that open source software has a tremendous amount of value in society for solving problems, simply because it's not based on like traditional legacy funding models where you're just trying to achieve a profit rather than solve some type of problem as like a public good. Thinking about, some of them though are, can be more mainstreamed, right, over the long term. I'm thinking about something like Blender. I think Jared has talked about Blender quite a bit in his talks. Originally starting as like a traditional model that used like waterfall methodologies and different frameworks for development, but then went completely open source and became more iterative over time and seeded a lot of different of the community through what they needed to get done for the platform. And then of course you have Linux is probably the biggest example. Anyway, that's a whole story we could talk about, but I wanted to bring that up. Great points, Roxana. And I'm also really happy about the continued inspiration for developing the grassroots community with the London-based circles. So yeah, a lot of really good stuff coming out of that. Thanks so much. All right, we have Chair up here. Welcome to the stage, my friend. You're welcome to break down what you have going on in the belly of the beast. Oh wait, that's DC, not Los Angeles. So close though.
Oh, you mean the military district of Columbia? Yeah, that's what they called it. That's what they call it during the Super Bowl. I don't think they've ever called it that before. The military district of Columbia. You know what's interesting about Thailand? It's another one of those countries. Tolerate a royal family. Why do you tolerate a royal family? Now, if you want to be really brave, go walk the streets of Thailand filming yourself criticizing the royals. post it. Pubs and restaurants for the win, indeed. There is a Los Angeles Circle tonight at a pub/restaurant. And I expect to see you there if you are anywhere near the 2, the 405, the 60, the 10. As far east as the 15 or even the 215. But I digress. You know, I've walked past the Green Dragon many, many, many times. It was very near where I worked when I lived in Boston, and it's kind of dingy. But if you walk the alley behind the Green Dragon, and isn't it interesting that they use the dragon? Those old, crusty, Masonic weirdos love their dragons, don't they? I wonder why that is. Do your own research on that. But behind the Green Dragon is all sorts of interesting Masonic symbolism, and I bet if you Google Street View that alley, you'll see what I'm talking about. I do recommend you do it. Boston is a weird place, but I am very excited that there is a Boston Circle happening, and if, God forbid, you are in the dreary, dreary winter of New England, perhaps you can seek that out for yourself. But I digress. The Los Angeles Circle is downtown tonight. Look at my posts and find the Luma as such, and thusly, there are a small amount of participants that have been incredibly dedicated in the LA Circle, all the way up to and including running DevNet Logos blockchain nodes, contributing a lot to scoping out the applications that we would like to see built. And at this point, it's time to put the pedal to the metal and actually contributing meaningfully to the building of said applications. And I do mean plural, as we are very capable of doing more than one thing at one time. If we put our heads to it and commit to it, we have some amazing members. Oh, yeah, well, there's more and more. I'm sort of I sit maybe at the precipice of seeing things that are ready or almost ready in terms of Logos tech, which there is a tsunami building. The earthquake has already hit and displaced the ocean floor. And what many people are not aware of is there is a massive tsunami of tech and things to get your hands on coming. And if you listen closely, you might hear the sirens starting to spin. So I'm very excited about that, and that's my primary focus. Those are 2 primary focuses of let's get to building. If you haven't run a node yet, do so. I think, from what I understand, there will be a group of very technical people showing up tonight, so I'm looking forward to pointing them in the right direction. I suspect, though, that they already know where those things are. I have a few copies of Farewell to Westphalia still in my possession that I'm looking to proliferate and distribute. So if you do not have yours yet, take advantage. What else? Lots happening. So in terms of the, in order to actually run things, people need instructions usually, and those are coming. Those are coming soon as well, as I'm sort of helping shepherd a lot of those docs along. I can assure you that whatever you feel might be lacking at this moment won't be very soon. However much faith you can hang on that statement. Those are the 7 or so points that I've jotted down in front of me. There's certainly more that I can bloviate about, and I will, as time allows, I will yield my time. Oh, by the way, the DAO is over 50,000. Okay, thank you.
Nice. Thanks so much, Chair. Good. Really happy to see the LA circles continuing to rock and roll. I love, but by the way, one of the things I'm going to let M go here in just a second and give his updates. But one of the things that we definitely want to see and is really important to the circles, and we understand that all the circles aren't going to be necessarily in a position right away to need technology, right? But what Logos is really about is developing goods that have that cypherpunk and that really that crypto anarchist value underneath it, right? Where we're really trying to protect individual liberty, autonomy, people's privacy, the ability to engage in activities without being surveilled. This is all a really important component of the work that we're all doing at Logos and with Logos and beside Logos and beside the community. And I can't think of anything more important than having this technology stack be deployed to the Logos Circles community to protect these activists who are working really diligently to create change in their communities, where they, in a very real sense, could come under attack or be under duress in a variety of different ways. So, and that's the reason why I'm personally here at Logos, because I want to be here because this technology matters, right? It matters for the future. It even matters for the present, right? Where we have all of these people either developing technology that ultimately harms us or represents a piece of the surveillance apparatus and the surveillance status quo, or they're building technology that is just some kind of just some type of gambling platform, or some type of scheme or scam or Ponzi or ripoff. So we have all this nonsensical, mind-numbing, stupefying technology being deployed en masse by people who don't have other people's best interests at heart, right? Or the community's best interests at heart, but having civic technology, cypherpunk technology that ultimately gives back to the community and allows communities to function, to develop into actual parallel societies and parallel ecosystems, is mission critical for being able to achieve the freedom and the autonomy and the ability to move in between different kinds of communities that we really require. And I don't want to mince words when I say this, but to survive as a species, to have some type of continuity. And I just think that's, one of the single reasons to just be around and thinking about this technology. There's just so many problems in our societies. We can get into this in a minute. I don't want to go into the complete conversation channel or spiel yet, but there are some people out there who really believe that corruption and governance failures and the fact that they're extractive and exploitative in a variety of different ways is inevitable. I don't believe that's the case whatsoever. I think that a lot of these situations have emerged as a result of structural deficiencies in our society that can be repaired by implementing different types of governance technologies, implementing different kinds of cultural standards, having a shared value set, and also upholding the very strong and important ideology of exit, right? So anyway, I'm going to go, maybe we'll get into a bit more of that later, but I do want to welcome M to the stage, who is one of our Fearless Circles leaders, right? So M, welcome to the stage. You're welcome to provide your updates, do a little chit chat, have a little powwow.
Thank you, Sterling. Hello, guys. How are you doing? Well, just wanted to say first, here's a plan that I have with a couple of friends. They are both from Japan. They come here to Barcelona. We met in a big get event that happened the last year. And they also organized the first side event of BASE for the European Blockchain Convention. And they seem very interested on bringing Logos to Japan, something that, yeah, I've seen in the chat that it is not we were not able to reach out to Japan yet. So that's one of the things that I'm brewing right now with these friends because they have to visit Japan in a couple weeks or so. So be able to book a call with some of the team members of Logos to see how can we onboard them and like use them as potential leaders to yeah, spread the message of Logos in Japan. They are working right now with Base with their chain. They have a couple companies built on it, some for RWA and yeah, other type of tokenization platforms, some of AI. So they are like very, very native in the sense of Web3. So I think, yeah, it won't be that hard to introduce them into Logos. And yeah, the second thing is that as I have a lot of contacts in Barcelona, I was invited by one of my friends from Zcash to see if we could collaborate and make an event on a Cash Hub, the same place where Logos makes an event in Barcelona, and to see what kind of synergy we can get from each other, from both Logos to Zcash and Zcash to Logos. So that's what we are brewing right now.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, any kind of relationship with Zcash would be 100% legit. So yeah, thanks for those updates. And by the way, are we going to see you at Parallel Society by chance? Maybe that's a secret.
Well, yeah, I've already booked the flight. I have the flight tickets, the reservation and everything. What I don't have yet is my ticket for Parallel Societies. I have to purchase it. Yeah. And I don't think I will be able to stay like for that long. So I don't know if I will be able to stay the 2 days or only one and then go back home because it's like, yeah, I reserved the flight tickets, but um the time of departing, it's like 9 p.m., right? But at the moment, I don't know if it's 9 p.m. of Barcelona time or if it is 9 p.m. from Portugal time. I still have to figure that out.
Yeah.
I suspect your newfound position will get you a ticket gratis, but reach out to the I think Amelia probably can verify that. And don't quote me, but maybe reference me. And if I'm wrong, forgive me. But I'm pretty
You are
sure.
correct, actually.
So the fact that you have a ticket now, M, means you need to stay the 2 days.
You can
Sweet.
have my ticket. You can have my ticket, M. It's optional, but some of us have decided to actually buy the ticket so we can, because all proceeds from the tickets go back to the artist and to other local initiatives. So if you want to do that, it's fine. Otherwise, we'll have tickets for circle leads anyway.
Oh, sorry, Sterling. Was you gonna say something? Sorry. Just wanted to say, well, thank you for notifying me that I didn't know. I was right on my way to purchase it. It's just, I've been a little bit busy, I think, because I started this new job with you guys, and I don't know if it is a curse or something that every single time I get a new job, I get sick. I got a flu. So yeah, I was a little bit tired. I don't know. I was not. Oh yeah, now that I got rid of the flu, I'm fully back into it.
Well, glad to see that you're feeling better. And don't worry, the flu is just your body adjusting to the revolution. It's going to be okay. Welcome to the
That's
show.
fire.
Okay, good shit, my friends. We have, by the way, uh, Roxanne. I don't know if that is a legacy hand that's raised, glitched, or if you have another comment.
I, it was a legacy hand, but I did remember I missed out on some things. One being that Bangkok was the first APAC circle for logos, which is good, which led to the conversation of Japan, which is also good. Um, the one issue we have with Japan is they do like finished products. In this case, for example, Base is already live. It's been around for a while. So my only fear is that we may go in too early into a market, and that would potentially work against us because we wouldn't get enough traction there. So it could just become a one-off. It's it's better if, for example, your friend um, could look at maybe working with a university or students in Japan, or research groups that are interested in zero knowledge proofs. This is the approach we're looking to have with Singapore, for example, because we know there's a big community of zero knowledge researchers. There's also a lot of people from the Monero community that relocated from Hong Kong after 2019 to Singapore. So we know there's a community there that is interested, but we're approaching it more from the R&D side instead of promoting logos, right? So we focus on technical onboarding and technical education. So that if your friends would like to take that approach, I think Japan could be an interesting target for us. Otherwise, it's better to kind of time it to wait until we're in a position where we can not just talk about the technology, but actually show it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for the info on that too, Roxana. That's good. Good point. Okay, cool. Let's see. I think next we have Chris on the stage. Welcome, Chris. You're welcome to provide any updates that you may have as well, sir. I believe you are also running a circle, so it's glad to have you here.
Hey. Yeah, thanks for having me. I don't have big updates in the sense that for the Brussels circle, we did our blitz. This was a blitz circle, and right now I'm still lobbying to find someone who wants to actually really lead the circle. There's definitely been inspiration from the people who were there, also from other countries, to start one potentially in Italy. That's one lead. So we'll see how that evolves. Yeah, the reason I jumped up initially was for the question of about the tickets, etc. But so that is covered. For the rest, the reason that I'm late today is because I was deep into the forum, of which I'm now an admin. Yay! So I can break everything. Um, so what I did, so if you go, for people who are interested, the forum that we have is really a fascinating place to learn all about logos, but also to submit great proposals and to come with ideas like how we can build logos for you. So the quick change that I made is that now if you go to forum.logos.co, you'll see on the left hand side the categories, and then the right hand side like the latest post. So this is on the desktop version. It shows it in a way like a better more user friendly overview. For before, it was just like this bunch of posts and I got lost in it. And now I can see what is specifically happening for the circles, what articles are out, specific learnings you want to share. And I also created a new category, which is proposals. So we're working on many different places at the same time. So we're building on this new builder hub. We're working on this new builder hub, but we also want to, on the contribute page that we currently have, we have this place where you can submit ideas. But these ideas kind of like disappear in a black box that we need to monitor, and it's not very public. And so we're migrating this to the forum. So as of now, when you have a proposal for collaborations with logos or anything that comes to mind, you can post it under the category proposals. And if you come with an update about circles, then people will see it maybe a little bit quicker as well. So I've just been cleaning it up a bit, adding a little bit of color. So I was deep down in that today. So that's a quick update from my side.
But actually, that's a really important update, Chris. Thanks. I've been negligent in my duties to engage in the forum, by the way. And because of that, I'm going to try to make up for lost time. I published the forum link in the chat, and then we published it above in the Megatron. So any of you guys want to check out the forum, please navigate to that link. Check out all of Chris and his team's hard work, and definitely sign up and feel free to engage. I see the proposals in the circles piece on the top of that very clearly and legibly. Good stuff, Chris. Thanks so much, as per usual.
Very welcome. Like for I even nerded out on putting the brand colors of logos in there. That's how nerdy I can get. I was like, these colors are off. Something's wrong. So I changed them into the right colors. But yeah, have fun, and please, yeah, I think we as logos also need to indeed do a better job to respond, because I saw some awesome proposals in there. I'm still going to clean up in the coming days, and put things in the right category. But
similar reserves myself, where a lot of tags already exist, and Logos is putting out another. I know it a bit, not much. I feel it's good, but difficult to show. We can use multiple stacks, but yeah, I feel very reserved. Just about Italy, I'm from France, but I met actually people from Waku in Ifrom in 2023, and I have some contacts from their local hub, hub called urbe.if, so I can help with the contacts there. And also, so I'm very much interested in the book. So I have organized book clubs in the past for protocols such as Together, and also I have attended a book club by Nexus Mutual. And so I saw little interest in that, but I saw that there is an ongoing translation in Spanish from the book by Mariana. So I started one in French. I'm at page 4 now. I posted it in Circles Common, I think. So when I put myself in front, I was thinking like I will help, but no, I want page by day. I won't be able to finish the book for 1 year. So we will see. So I will continue, but any help of French speakers appreciated. I do have a few questions about the translations. So I put the translation on Radical. So maybe it's a bit technical for I don't know, translators that are not into development and so on. So I don't know about platform that you could use. Maybe GitHub is more friendly, but Radical is more in line with what Logos is doing. So so that's the first question. Radical, is it okay? And the second is the use of AI. So for now, I don't use AI to translate, only to verify the translation, see if it's okay, or to find some explanation, for example, about the Blaise Pascal name of machine. So I wanted to know if there is some guidance on the use of AI for the translation. And that's it for me.
Nice. Thanks, TD. We'll see if maybe send us a message and see if we can get you some help and see who in the community maybe can provide some sort of support or assistance. So, yep, good stuff.
I sent a message in the Circle Common of this in Discord through status.
That's the perfect place. Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
I think so. Amelia is also back tomorrow, so we're looking into the various translations. So she'll definitely also follow up. So thank you so much for this.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah, appreciate you.
Oh, and sorry, I just wanted to still report. You mentioned Urbe in Italy. Yeah, we're definitely in contact with them. So the person who was there was from Liminal Village, but we're like all like the different people who were there are there's a network of different hubs forming in Europe. So they're definitely aware of Logos as well. But this is a great connection. So good to know that you're connected to them too. Thanks.
Yeah, because Waku was I don't know, gold sponsor or something in the second edition of Ifrom, or the first edition, I don't remember. So yeah, they know. But yeah, keep in touch. Yeah, thank you.
Nice. Cool. All right. Thank you so much. Now we have our good friend, Girl, on the stage, who also is running a circle, the Porto Circle. So welcome to the stage, Girl.
Boy noite. Yes, hello. We've got our second circle in Porto happening at the house again this week. There was a slight panic, which I used to my advantage, and the house are going to be offering me a closed door office space meeting room once a month so that I can welcome victims to me, which might be the way to do it. So that's something I'm going to be trying, which I think is going to be a really good idea. I want to say massive thank you. I went to I'm going to say it all wrong, but I am a newbie. I went to the open office hours on Friday with the developers, and it was really good. Like, I learnt loads, and so I feel a little confident to be able to host on Thursday and talk about the tech stuff. But in case that isn't as good as I hope it will be, I've reached out to everyone that's coming on Thursday to have like a bit of a pre-talk chat on the phone, because then I can talk about Logos reading it rather than in person. But yeah, it's exciting. It's good. What else did I want to say? Yeah, so all of them, there was lots came up in the office hours on Friday, and one of the questions was how do you get people to join the circles, to do all of this? And I got very passionate about standing in conviction, but also it did get me thinking about needing to reach out and go out and find people. So that's very exciting. Yeah, so my kind of plan for Thursday is to designate different parts of the tech proposal that align with the different members that are coming. We've got a really strong circle. I think that's why I'm feeling a bit nervous about it all, but I come with energy. Yeah, so it's good. I mean, it really is. It's really exciting. And then I'm pushing Parallel Society to anyone, everyone, and engaging whoever is there to help collab with me on a oh shit, sorry, am I still there? Did I just get rid of you?
Nope.
Oh, you're still here.
Okay, good. Sorry. Sorry about that. Yeah, so with someone to help me, because I don't have a laptop and I need to put together the installation for Parallel Society. So I'm hoping that someone in the circle and we can collab, and that will deepen the strength and the unity within the Porto chapter. But yeah, I'm just really looking forward to it, and I'm just really hyped because we've just had such bad weather. First day of no rain in what feels like eternity. So really excited to get out, chat with people who want to build something different, a brighter future, different way of doing things, and we're all pumped up and fired up. And on a personal level, it's wonderful that it is a room full of men coming to help with the local cause that we do have, the winnable issue being building a digital egress app, primarily for victims of domestic abuse, but also for anyone else that might find themselves in a sticky situation. And that's all from Porto. Boy and night. Ciao.
Ciao. Thank you very much, girl. Looking forward again to seeing you. I think
Yeah, you too, Sally.
gonna be sweet. Looks like the Porto Circle too. Everything you're moving forward quite nicely. So thanks again for your
Thank
work
you.
and contributions.
Thank you.
No worries. I think, okay, let's see. Man, I had something on the top of my head, on the tip of my tongue and on the top of my head, but it vanished. It will be back at some point. Probably about 4 hours from now at beer time. It will return to me. Okay, cool. But what we can do, let's see. What we can do is make sure that we have everyone on the stage, and you've got to. What we're doing is we're moving toward the 1 hour mark, and we'll go for about another 30 minutes, and we'll probably get a little bit more into a discussion. This is good though, because we have a situation where Circles is growing so much and it's evolving, and we have so many members that now we just have a continuous conversation about Logos circles, where circles are, about the intricate details, about how they're evolving, about what needs to be done, about the winnable issues, about all the stuff. It's beautiful, right? That's what we're going for. Of course, having a conversation, philosophical or technical or otherwise, about what we're doing is also really important. So I want to thank you all for being here, being part of this space and part of this community, because we're going to continue to grow, evolve, and mature the community. And it's for good reasons, for great reasons, really, for the fact that there needs to be a tremendous amount of change in our world. There's a lot of unsolved issues or problems, and a lot of these issues or problems are ones that a lot of people have either given up on or believe they can't be solved. They're either black pilled or they're suffering from some type of, I want to use the term ennui, right? Like some depressive boredom, some that as a result of the meaning crisis. Not right. I'm not meaning this in a derogatory way. I'm meaning this in a more here to help bring back the gusto, right, for life, the elan vital that drives us forward and animates us. I really believe that's a big part of the Logos movement, the Logos spirit. So it's just an amazing thing. All right, if any of you guys have any other comments with regards to circles or any kind of information that we might have missed, then we can kind of move on and have a little bit of a discussion before we begin to wind down. There are some comments I might want to make on parallel society. I think that maybe loads in. I do want to mention, if you guys haven't grabbed your ticket for Parallel Society and you're considering it, maybe you're on the fence. I know that for some people it could be a bit of travel, right? Like I'm coming from the United States. There's a lot of preparation and getting ready to go to Europe, but it's 100% worth it. It's going to be worth it. We put together an amazing group of people, and we have a huge amount of thanks that's going to go out to Lou, who works on our team and who has really done just a bang up job trying to put this together. And we have many different organizations who are in tune with our community, who are working together to create a better, brighter future, to provide more freedoms, more autonomy, more privacy, more anonymity enhancing technologies. This includes folks like DarkFi. We have Tor, also Harry Halpin, and the NIM team is slated to be there. We also have many different people and partners working in the parallel society space. So you might have known we had Mark Lutter with the Charter Cities Institute and Hugo with the New Economy Institute. Oh, also our good buddy who's been on the space before, Quentin with Xano Network, is going to be here. We have, of course, the one and only Aaron Day, who's been on our spaces multiple times and is a good friend of the network and a diligent worker pushing for anti-surveillance activities and pro-privacy technologies. So yeah, it's just going to be an amazing event. I can't wait to go. So excited about traveling. All right, we'll move on to the next phase of this then. But first I want to let OW say whatever he wants to say, and welcome to the stage, my friend. It's really good to see you again.
Sterling, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yep, loud and clear.
Awesome. So it's been a while since I got the chance to step on stage. It's been a while and I missed you guys. So it's basically trying to give an update on Nairobi Circle. Try to make it as snappy as possible. We've been working on civil education for kids, as I mentioned a while ago. We've been able to partner with multiple organizations locally. So we're thinking on how we're going to upscale and also tackle the local winnable issue itself. So we were thinking on educating kids on online safety as well as matters privacy. And our solution was in terms of comics and also perhaps games. So in the process, we're trying to maybe come up with a form of research and also a step-by-step guide on how we'll be able to execute it. Yeah.
Nice. OW, I'm glad you got to come up and provide an update for the Nairobi Circle. I'm really, really happy that you're still involved in the community and you're dedicated to continuing the Circle's mission. So thank you for the update. Let us know anytime you want to come into the community chat here and you want to add any updates, you're more than welcome to. If you need anything else, any kind of support, community, technical or otherwise, just feel free to let us know.
Definitely. Thank you, Stallion.
Yep, my friend. Thank you. All right, cool. Any other thoughts or considerations before we move on?
Just one I forgot to mention. I just saw James in the audience and I got reminded. There is on privacy on Friday with Eat London, and I believe Guru from our team will be there to do a small walkthrough on the topic of privacy. So if you are in town on Friday, do check it out. I hope I got the date correctly. Yes, I got it. I'm at the other event. I'm at the coordinating British progress, and then Guru is with the developers. So we've switched sides now.
Well, give you some much needed thumbs up for the switching of the sides. Switching of the sides is a thing that definitely happens. Cool. Well, okay. We'll move into the little chitty chat section of the space, which I thoroughly enjoy. Can do a little chin wagging, which is also fun. So if there's anything that's on any of your guys' mind that we want to discuss, I know Roxana, you might have had some thoughts. I, of course, probably have too many thoughts. So I want to give you guys a chance to talk about what you want to talk about.
Too many thoughts. Okay. Initially, I wanted to talk about the recent interview that Arsium or Arcium, I don't know how to pronounce it yet, had with Tucker Carlson, which was a very interesting. It was a very interesting podcast because it explained privacy to the masses, and I really enjoy dialogue where we step away from the complex technologies and we just translate the dangers and the sort of like the hidden dangers that are out there that a lot of people can't grasp. So I think getting into mainstream media through interviews with people like Joe Rogan or Tucker Carlson are very good. But then today I was doing research because I was applying to speak at a conference on the topic of privacy. So I was thinking, what can we bring into the conversation, right? Because privacy should be a dialogue; it shouldn't be a monologue. What can we bring in the privacy discussion that makes people think? Because this is what we want to do. We want to make people think. We want to instill some sort of subliminal movement so that people realize, oh, this is bigger than we thought. This is a much bigger problem. And slowly, as they start to doubt their realities or the things they knew as reality, they start to research and they open up, right? They open up their minds and they discover this whole universe and slowly get to understand why are these crazy people called cypherpunks and what are they trying to say and what are they trying to build and why. So I was looking into different topics and I got on one, which is very interesting. And it's called intergenerational cooperation. And this was used in climate change, but I think it's very, very important for privacy as well, because intergenerational cooperation is essential for addressing humanity's most pressing challenges. So it's not a single period social dilemma. It's like an intergenerational dilemma lacks key mechanisms that would facilitate cooperation, right? Such as kind of making it having reciprocity or compensating for its absence. And there's a very promising approach to this, which is the implementation of a commitment mechanism. that allows the current generation to bind future generations to continue collaborating, which is quite fascinating once you get into it. So I found a study that was they were experimentally examining different behavioral aspects of such mechanisms and finding endorsement for their use despite an associated costs, right? This comes up across in privacy a lot of the times, because if we want to have a dialogue with the government, for example, how we have have to understand that there are costs to any kind of migration or any kind of integration of technology that is different than the standard, right? So it's a very interesting component to this this kind of commitment mechanism was a sort of long-sighted altruism, which for us, we can translate that into the voluntary approach, where individuals forego personal gain to benefit not just the next generation, but also more distant ones. And this is so aligned with the whole cypherpunk movement. And it's so easy to translate to people that are not core to privacy, or they're not developers, or they're not deep into the tech, that they can actually understand that the cypherpunk movement is essentially a long-sighted altruism for privacy and for individual freedoms. So these kind of commitment mechanisms, they enhance what we call intergenerational sustainability, right? So it increases the proportions of chains that preserve the common pool across different generations. So for these mechanisms to exhibit persistence, which is a big part of it, future generations get motivated to continue using them. So that the results are very important. They have implications for, in this case, it was policymakers, but for us, I mean, for kind of where I was thinking, it makes sense for us because we have something quite valuable in cyberspace. We don't need policy making because we have code as commitment. So this is very strong to us. And this is a topic I wanted to bring about today. I'm sorry for taking over and changing completely, but I was so excited about this, and I was just reading about it this whole afternoon.
Yeah, this is definitely a conversation worth having. I'm glad you broke down a bit of the perspective from the I guess it was a podcast, right? That Carl Tuckerson was on, because I didn't actually have a chance to watch it, but I do. I mean, this is something that we're all very interested in, right? I'll speak to the first part of this, getting privacy technologies and understanding the importance of privacy to the people, right, to the general public is critical, but also helping people continue to understand the threats that currently exist to their privacy. And I still think that this like mainstream push to make privacy seem either illegal or unimportant or a non-issue, we still have to do whatever we can to fight back against that and to minimize the impact that mindset has, or that those ideas have on people, because they're absolutely dangerous. We're in a situation right now too where governments around the world, corporations around the world, and a variety of different powers are building, this is the way that Aaron Day says it now, and I like it, building the prison walls of the surveillance apparatus around us. And right now, privacy is infringed on in a lot of different layers and on a lot of different verticals of our lives. It's not just on the digital plane that we have to worry about data leakage, privacy infringements, but it's also in the personal physical meat space sphere when we walk down the road and there's a CCTV camera on every corner. Now, actually, it's worse than that. My wife was showing me this the other day. So everyone has in the United States, I don't know what it's like in other parts of the world, but they have those Ring cameras on their front door. The Ring camera now, of course, is using AI and other technologies to actually tell you what's happening as it happens from what it sees, right? There was a dog walking in front of our Ring camera, right, the other day, and it's telling us exactly what's happening. This is not to say that having a Ring camera is bad, but it is to say that these technologies and others are going to continue to be spread and used aside from personal defense or security purposes, but for purposes of surveillance and controlling the population. So this is why, by the way, the technologies that we're building to counteract this type of activity are so extremely critical. And of course, first, it starts with helping people understand the impact of these threats, how multifaceted they are, and how they impact so many different aspects of our lives, so that people can understand that they need to take action, right? I think that's ultimately what it's about. They need to take action. They need to be able to see what the problem is, and they need to take steps to protect their own privacy in a variety of different ways. But they also, and this is obviously important to us and important to circles, some of these folks may see it as such an invasion that they are moved to activism, right? Maybe they're moved to start a logo circle. Maybe they're moved to begin pushing back against this apparatus. Maybe they even want to exercise some form of exit, right? That we've talked about a lot, where they want to move to a jurisdiction, do jurisdictional arbitrage to a place in the world that is not as draconian, for lack of a better phrase, places that aren't as surveillance prone, right? And so I think what this boils down to, and this is at least partly to Roxana's point, is that we need more of an education initiative as well. And we all have to be advocates for our space. And I think it's also important that we articulate the values of crypto anarchism and cypherpunk in ways that don't seem so nefarious or dark, or because I think it's very easy to paint a lot of our views and a lot of the ideas that we espouse as being largely clandestine, might be a good word, right? Or like secretive. And that's partly true, but they want to say that in a pejorative sense or apply negative connotations to it. But the reality is, ultimately, and Roxana mentioned this is really about individual freedom. This is about autonomy. This is about protecting our privacy, protecting ourselves from unnecessary searches, seizures, and violations of our personal possessions. And this is just, again, this is why we're all here, right? This is why we're developing Logo Circles. This is why Logos has been working on and continues to work on and build a decentralized, privacy-preserving stack and infrastructure, why public goods are so important, because this is one of the preeminent threats of our lifetime. Obviously, we're dealing with many of them, but if we can't even protect our own privacy and not have to worry about being surveilled every step of the way, then solving some of these other problems are also going to be tremendously difficult, because how can we solve problems that involve some kind of activism when we can't even work without having other people, potentially bad actors, surveil us and attack us as a result of that? So there's a lot that plays into this, and there's certainly a lot to discuss. But protecting, venerating, and upholding the cypherpunk codex, right? The cypherpunk lexicon, the cypherpunk value set is so utterly important to this mission too, because it's really speaking to why these individuals, people like Timothy May, Eric Hughes, etc., did what they did and acted why they acted, and why they probably to some people seemed so aggressive, right? And the philosophy got painted in a negative light as a result. Anyway, I could go on and on. I want to provide anyone else who has thoughts, they're welcome to share. Other than that, we can go on and continue to rampage with the monologue.
Hello, hello. Can you hear me?
Yep, TD, you're good.
Yeah, yeah. I wanted to go on the subject on bringing UX to the of privacy to the normies, let's say, because I've seen similar problems. And I like the privacy argument from Meredith Whittaker, is that you go to the toilet, you need your privacy. You close the door, you don't leave it open. So even that is privacy is important in this case. And but anyway, also in June about blockchain specifically, the citizen, we will have to tell the governments every public address that we use, and we own any kind of token on. And if you don't do it, it's illegal. So I'm not sure if we have to tell them our Zcash address, our Bitcoin address. I don't know. It's unclear. But the problem that we have also is there are a lot of leaks in the government or not in the government about KYC, and these leaks they lead to of sequestrations. In France, for now, we have sequestrations of people. The public one, they own a lot of crypto, but if these databases are in the government, they are probably going to leak, and it's going to be easier for criminals to come and get a ransom for getting the money of the people. And an argument I had earlier is like, if you are here in say Western countries, such as France or even Switzerland, if you have a small bit of crypto, say 10,000 euros, it's okay. But if you travel to other countries who are much poorer, for them, it's a lot of money. So when you travel, they are going to access your wallet, and they are going to see that you come to the airport, and it's going to maybe restrict our possibility to travel at some point. I don't know. Maybe I'm too dark on this, but I just need to extend on the subject. But thank you for bringing it on.
No, TD, really good point. So there's people, right? You guys are familiar, of course, with Derek Rose and his community with the Conscious Resistance Network and his event, which he just had in Mexico, the People's Reset. So one of the things that Derek did, he's been a big, I want to use the term purveyor of the situation. He's been talking about the fact that the state apparatus, the corporatocracy, whatever terminology you want to use for these systems, have become more surveillance oriented and getting better and better technology to support their surveillance apparatus. So what he did was ultimately just decide to exercise exit. He put his money where his mouth is. He decided that he's going to leave the United States, where it is arguably one of the worst surveillance states in the world, aside from places in the EU, likely, right? He left and went to Mexico. Mexico, arguably, and there's people who vehemently disagree with me on this point, but after spending a lot of time in Mexico, it is 100% certainty a better place to live, because the surveillance architecture isn't nearly as refined as in other places in the world. And this is not to say that Mexico's a paradise or that there's not a lot of corruption, because there 100% certainly is. Different areas are effectively narco states, right? You've probably heard Peter Ludlow talk about this in a variety of different ways. But the truth is because everything is so fragmented in Mexico, it's very difficult for the government to surveil any one person. And the culture, in my opinion, is diametrically opposed to surveilling the population. Very much an endemic instinct in Mexico that the people harbor, that you can't trust the authorities, right? And you can't trust governments. You can't trust your institutions. This is why Mexico is largely a cash-based economy, right? Everyone knows that you don't put your money in the bank, at least not a lot of it, unless you want to potentially lose it. This is not a lesson that Americans have had to learn the hard way, right? Mainly, and I'm going to just talk about this a minute because I think this is really important. I want to talk about the economic reasons why this hasn't happened in the U.S. Why hasn't the U.S. had major bank runs? Obviously, a collapse happened, and there were people who suffered as a result of that. But you haven't had a situation where the governments just started taking people's money from them out of the bank. That hasn't really happened en masse. It happened sort of like in pockets, like in the cryptocurrency industry, for instance, when people have their bank accounts frozen who are working in crypto. This part of Operation Choke Point 3.0, stuff like that has happened, but it hasn't really happened on what I'd say is a mass scale. And the reason for that is because the U.S. has a monopoly on world finances and really a hegemony on the dollar as a global reserve currency. And what this means is that all these dollars can sit in banks, right, overseas, and other countries have to be reliant on the dollar. And what this, and by the way, this is something that Peruvian Bull talks about. Let me cite my sources real quick. This is something Peruvian Bull talks about in his book called The Dollar Endgame, which we've referenced and I've talked about in different articles in the past via Logos and other channels and platforms. But when we have a monetary situation like that, all that money basically gets to stay overseas, and the U.S. gets to be protected from the consequences of hyperinflation, right? Because that money is not ever going to easily come flowing back into the United States unless the dollar loses its status as the global reserve fiat currency. I think this is parts of this story. If you want more information on this, Peter Schiff is also well known for having talking about the reasons why a lot of this hasn't come to fruition. But probably the best source is the Dollar Endgame book. But this is why Americans live in this kind of like relative comfort, and everyone can put blinders on to the reality of the situation, where a lot of these other countries, especially in places like Africa and Latin America, have suffered the full ramifications and fallout of having broken institutions and failed economies, right? Like the Bolivar currency, I mean, that is only good as kindling for the family by the fire at night, or as toilet paper, as waste paper. It's lost that much value. And this is just what happens, of course, when you have a group of people who can press a button and print out as much money as they want. So I know this is kind of not directly, this is really indirectly related to the main topic that we were discussing today, but I think it's really important for folks to understand why individuals haven't really caught on to the full scope of the problems people are dealing with around the world, and also haven't come to terms with the state of control and surveillance and monitoring that is occurring in the US, because everyone feels relatively comfortable in their bubbles, right? And this is also why, and this goes along with a tremendous amount of propaganda and propaganda campaigns that are still ongoing in the US. And this is mostly happens in a lot of countries where people are, rah, 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 waving the American flag. This is the best place in the world. I don't want to leave. Why should I leave? And yet most of them haven't even traveled out of the country and experienced any other cultures or countries around the world. And I think that is really a shame at best, personally speaking, as a person who's traveled to roughly 30 countries around the world. So what can we do about it? Well, we continue building these technologies. I'm glad you asked. Thank you very much. We continue to build these technologies. We continue to preach and evangelize for the ideas of exit and build, for the ideas of creating new governance applications, developing public goods that have a privacy-centric architecture, and deploying that as deeply into our cultural fabric as possible, and building this cypherpunk mindset, even if we don't even use that terminology because it scares people. I'm going to use it, but even if it's just built into all the tools and technologies that we use, that I would say is a win. And if we keep developing logo circles, creating parallel networks, and creating networks of trusted people, friends and allies who want to push back against this thing, leveraging what Gandhi called satyagraha, right? Peace force or peaceful resistance, then in my personal opinion, we're winning. We're pushing the dial forward in a way that's positive. But that's again, this is just my personal outlook and my personal opinion on the current situation. You guys are welcome to comment, disagree, hard disagree. It actually makes me feel pretty good when a hushed silence has fallen over the room. That must mean we have arrived. we are getting there. Cool.
Yeah,
well,
I totally agree, but I just wanted to say that the space cut last time for 1 hour and a half. I don't know if it's a hard cut or not.
yeah, you're right, TD. I got a little excited and went on my monologue, my soapbox, but it is definitely that time. But I do want to get, if anybody wants to have one last comment or one last thought, we can do that, and then we'll start rounding things down. I personally really enjoy this, and this format is something that is extremely valuable for spreading really good information, right? Along with getting all of our ideas, technologies, and circles information spread worldwide. Cool. Chair.
Sterling, I think Mariana joined us on stage.
Okay,
Yes.
cool. Hey, Mariana. By the way, yeah, we can go for a few more minutes here to have a bit of a discussion. I'm going to let Mariana speak. I just want to apologize. Sometimes you guys will come up to speak, and X is really glitchy, as you guys know, and sometimes I can't see all the speakers, and there's a delay, I think, sometimes too, when it shows people. So that's that. Mariana, welcome to the stage, friend.
Hello. I just want to share that I was at Monedatopia last weekend. And well, we had a workshop, Logos workshop there. But my comment here is that I was at Dr. Patfield presentation, and he has a podcast. And I was like scared after his talk because he explained about a lot of companies that are making surveillance machinery. The one that you mentioned, Amazon Rings, that are these cameras that can find dogs or persons in seconds using artificial intelligence. He also talked about Oracle becoming the world surveillance machine with the data science applications that can track everything you do in your day, what you eat, where you are, where you work, what you buy, etc. So he also said something about terrible, like it is Fog Data Science. It's a company that is tracking all the companies are using this company, Fog Data Science, and they track all the activity of the employees of a company. So if something if an employee does something that sends an alert to the boss, then he is aware of what you probably are doing outside of the office, but still it's an alert for the company. So they can use that against your continuation in the job, etc. For example, he said they can track your credit card, and if you are like in the limit of your credit or something like that, maybe you potentially can steal money from the company to pay your debt. So they sent an alert to the boss. I was like, oh my God, I don't want to continue hearing to this to this presentation because I start like feeling very bad. But yeah, just to add to this surveillance machinery we are living in this decade, and how this exacerbated level of control of companies, governments, or whomever the case may be, it's not we cannot afford to allow it, right? Because privacy is nothing about I want to hide something. It's just that you don't need to know everything, no, like that, and use it against me in anytime you want. So yeah, that was the Monerotopia talk I wanted to share with you. And thank you.
Yeah, Mariana, great point. By the way, also amazing event you went to. It's been, I guess, year before last I went to Monerotopia. Definitely people who are on our same wavelength and who we vibe with. So good shit. I would say also that you're definitely correct in the concerns about what the gentleman in his talk was saying about these various to our daily lives. And it just, I mean, what it means or what it forebodes is that our privacy is continuing to erode, right? Which means that what the things that we're working on in our space are becoming that more important. This is also, we've talked about this in other spaces, why the narrative in privacy has also shifted and more people are talking about it. Now, the thing that we have to prevent is from the purity of what we understand about privacy from becoming hijacked by those folks who want to see privacy effectively watered down, right? To where it's not real private, it's not actual privacy, it's contingent privacy. And that's going to be really important. That's going to be part of our efforts as well. So thank you for that. Sweet. All right. I know that we are past the time, guys. We're going to be a little bit over here, but we really enjoyed the conversation. I know that Chair had his hand up, so I want to give Chair one last time, or one chance to say what he was going to say before we exit and call it a day. So that way we end on a high note, because Chair, of course, always has the beautiful high note.
Thank you. Well, folks, things are ramping up, and the topics of our discussions here in these spaces every Tuesday and Thursday for the better part of the last year, or maybe even more than 1 year at this point, they are coming to fruition, if not quickening and speeding up. And between interesting revelations of people showing up in the Epstein files to an increasing authoritarian surveillance state, we have very much arrived. We have a very strong and consistent crew that is here. And as momentum increases and as we barrel towards Logos testnet v0.1 and beyond, your active participation will become more and more important. And so wherever it is that we might be on this platform or anywhere else, to encourage you to seek us out, and your engagement with all things Logos becomes more and more important. If you want to see this come to fruition, your active participation, exponential comes to mind, but like every single person's participation, if there are 24 some odd people in this room, your potential reach is greater than you think, and your engagement is more valuable than you think. So wherever we might be, whether it's this platform or any other, or increasingly the native applications that we will be built on top of Logos, your participation is essential. And so thank you for being here. There are a ton of long-time regular supporters that are here. Thank you for continuing to share and engage and onboard people to what is happening. I am very excited for Parallel Society and beyond. I see a lot of you there. And this is the time to hunker down. And it's going to be a very exciting year and beyond. And I'm excited to do it with all of you. And I'll see you all at the all of you at the LA Circle tonight. Thank you.
Well said, Chair. So it's been a while since we gave out the little blue ribbon, for the Toastmasters speech of the day, but maybe we can offer the soliloquy of the day award to Chair. Thank you very much, Chair. So let's, definitely what we're going to end on here is the clear pill rather than the black pill. And Chair nailed that. This is a movement of optimism, right? This is a movement of really, and when I say optimism, it's not just about some cheery disposition, right? Although that may be part of it. What it's actually about is the fact that we believe in these communities that we can take action, that there are things we can actively do to move the dial forward. We're not just armchair philosophizing. We're not laying in the bed and pulling the sheet over tight and hoping that the other step tomorrow, right? We are taking action. We're taking steps to move the dial forward for freedom, for privacy, for human autonomy. And we also don't take the black-pilled approach that the problems that we're dealing with in the world are unsolvable. That is the thing actually that is like an itch that gets under my skin, you know, those itches that you can't actually itch and they keep that's one of those. That view bothers me on a fundamental level, on a foundational level. And so we're here to say that there are things that we can do and we're going to do them. We're going to put our money where our mouth is. We're going to deploy technology. We're going to talk about philosophy that's actionable. We're going to be like Gandhi and engage in satyagraha, right? Some form of peaceful resistance. And that's the way things are going to be, right? Because we're going to manifest that. That's the attractor. So again, like Chair said, we really want to thank all of you guys who've been part of this community and our OGs and are involved. But also we want to thank you guys who are new to the space. And maybe this is the first one you've been in or first one you've been in a while. Welcome back or welcome to the Logos community. Thank you so much. Cool. Well, guys, that is going to be a wrap for today. Let's continue with the momentum building, right? Because we have a lot to look forward to in the future. And also, guys, be prepared for parallel society, where we're instantiating this movement and coming together in real life and talking about what we're building, what we're creating. So love it, guys. That's a wrap for today. Much love. Thanks everyone for being here.